Hi, it's Sue Patterson from the Unschooling Mom2Mom podcast. I'm back with another unschooling pep talk to help you understand more about unschooling, why you might feel a little resistant, and some ideas to help you move past your obstacles. Unschooling works. It might take a little reframing on your part, but I'm here to do that with you. So during one of my recent group coaching calls, we got into a conversation that really stuck with me about checklists. You know that satisfying feeling about checking a box? We all know it. We were raised in it. It's how we measured progress, how we earned approval, how we made sure we were doing it right. But when you step into unschooling, that entire system of validation doesn't really fit anymore. And that can feel unsettling. So let's talk about why we love those check boxes. What I hear from moms are things like, it's just hard to look creatively at something when you're distracted and you want to get back to checking a box. Or all this playtime, it's not on the to-do list. I get it. Check boxes equaled success, gold stars, completed assignments, permission to relax. So we became really good box checkers. We had reasons for it that seemed to make sense. Like life is busy and checklists help us feel like we're keeping up. Or we've been told directly or indirectly that we can't be trusted to just wing it. Or we were rewarded for compliance, not creativity, for being productive, not being connected. Nobody valued our connections. They certainly didn't show up on a checklist. So we cling to boxes because they feel like proof that we're doing enough, that our kids are learning, that we haven't gone off the rails, that we're not failing. The problem is unschooling doesn't have boxes. So when things start to feel chaotic, our brains go into survival mode. They want something to control, a checklist, a routine, a structure, anything that feels like safety. So that's the catch. We still want check boxes, but each family's day looks different. Even if you built your own checklist, it would probably change by next week, maybe even by tomorrow, because kids shift interests, life happens, and you evolve too. And the reality of it all is that most of us are tired. Parenting is relentless. Sure, we get bursts of energy, but for the most part, we're running on fumes. But because of our conditioning, we start thinking, if I just had the right checklist, I wouldn't have to hold everything in my head. But then those goalposts keep moving. Kids change directions. Our energy rarely matches theirs. So what do? We retreat a little. We start building structure to feel on track, or we go searching for one that fits. But the deeper we get into unschooling, the harder it is to find. There aren't curriculum checklists anymore, and that can feel disorienting. Even the kids' requests to play can start to feel like distractions from the imaginary checklist that we think we should be building. And if we walked away from measuring by standards and subjects, does that mean we've walked away from measuring success altogether? We end up floundering, distracted from the life unfolding right in front of us. There's one other thing I want to mention, because this is contributing to all the confusion of what our next steps should be. When things feel chaotic, our brains go into survival mode. They're actually adding obstacles to our day, trying to get us back in line. Stay with what's familiar. Bring us back to safety. Our brains want something to control, a checklist, a routine, a structure, and it will do whatever it takes to win the argument in your head. It will point out all the times that you relaxed instead of working on chores. It will remind you how you played on your phone before starting dinner and then time got away from you. It will tell you that you don't know enough, so you should just read one more research article. It will tell you that the kids' needs are keeping you from that checklist that you should be building. This inner critic is doing its own checklist of where we come up short, sabotaging your confidence, and we can't hide from that voice in your head. It's not meant to harm us. It's our brain's way of saying, come back to what we know. Come back to the patterns that used to work or what everyone else is doing. Our brains insist a good checklist will save you from the chaos, from yourself, from distractions. But part of us knows that even if we comply and pour our energy into building that kind of a structure, it won't last. We won't follow it. The kids won't comply. And then that realization will just drain us further. And we just don't know how to fix all of this. So that's what I want to help you do. Let's find some solutions. We have to recognize that voice for what it is. We are not failures. This is just fear of the unknown. And when we can reframe that, it will loosen the grip that those fears have on us. It puts a little wiggle room in there when we can see it and say, oh, there it is. That's what's happening. I don't need to scrap this whole thing, declare myself a bad parent, a flop as an unschooler. It's just fear of the unknown. I'm just feeling my way through all this unfamiliar territory. And then what if instead of checking boxes, we start checking connection points throughout the day? Asking yourself, have I connected with my child today? Maybe divide your day into blocks, morning, afternoon, and evening, and be sure to touch base, because those connection points are where learning shows up, in their questions, in their ideas, their moods, their creativity. That's your real data. Yes, they're unpredictable. But when you know that, you're not blindsided anymore. And it will actually simplify your approach to all of this. Still, we're creatures of habit, right? And as we move in this direction, we could maybe use some tools that will help us really individualize the experiences, the day-to-day lives we're living. If you're really connected to check boxes, change what you're putting on the list. Instead of saying math or spelling or reading, move towards check boxes of places to go or things to do with the kids that they'd enjoy this week, 1 week at a time. How can you sparkle up their world a little more? We have worksheets etched into our brains from all those years of school, but those are not the only legit ways to learn. They're not even the best ways. Leaning towards your kids will give you the clues to what they like, what they might be willing to try, and what's something you don't want to do. So I created some resources for you because maybe you've forgotten what else is going on that's not schooly. I have 365 days of deschooling with 365 ideas to try. The seasonal unschooling guides connect you with what's happening right outside your door, with holidays, with activities that you don't want to miss. And the strewing calendar will help you find celebrations for every day. And I'll point out to you where the subjects slip in there without any extra work on your part. So these are not as boxes to check, but as ideas you can pull to the front of your brain, where you can say, oh yeah, they're doing that in the community this weekend. Or we can do that on Thursday. That's a good day for it. Or maybe we can swing by there on our way home from the appointment on Wednesday. So you're not forcing a plan. You're using these kinds of tools as done-for-you ways to remind yourself of possibilities that are happening, possibilities that you may have missed because you were so busy creating a structure or lamenting the lack of a particular subject in your kids' lives. Because those subjects will show up in these activities. They'll learn all kinds of things. And all of these tools are included in the membership group. We even meet twice a week so you can keep these ideas at the front of your mind and get support from me and from the community of parents. You may need a little help creating a new way of learning and living with the kids. Why do it by yourself? Success in unschooling isn't about completing tasks. It's about creating a life where curiosity and connection and joy guide the rhythm. We grew up believing that productivity equals value. But in real life and in real learning, growth is messy, nonlinear, and often invisible at first. What if we measured success by how relaxed our homes feel, by how much laughter shows up in a day, by how many questions our kids ask, even the strange questions? Aren't these really what matter most? So if you catch yourself needing the check boxes, pause and ask, what am I really looking for? Reassurance? Structure? Proof? You can have those things, just in new forms, through reflection and connection and trust, through listening to others in our unschooling community. Remember, you can be trusted. Your kids can be trusted. The boxes were never the point. Living a full, curious life takes a little courage, but that's the real accomplishment. So happy unschooling. Enjoy your week, and I'll be back to talk with you again soon.